Welcome to the Embodied Living Podcast, a space where we will dive into the essence of being human. My name is Kirstine Illum, and I will be your host and your guide on this journey of self-discovery. In each episode, whether it's a soulful solo exploration or a heartfelt conversation with a guest, we dive into topics like somatic therapy, personal transformation, trauma, movement practices, breathwork, presence, and much, much more about the complexity of being a human. And alongside our discussion, I will vulnerably share parts of my own journey and my own story, inviting you to join me in exploration. This podcast is for you, the seeker, the curious soul, who yearns for a deeper understanding and connection, and who seeks to be inspired and perhaps even learn something new along the way. I'm a trauma-informed somatic therapist, and on top of that, I have more than 20 years of experience in different movement modalities and embodiment. I've definitely danced and still is dancing on my own path of healing and integration. I believe that our bodies have this profound power to heal and transform. And as we transform internally, something beautiful happens. We ripple, change outward into the world around us. So thank you for joining me on this journey of embodied living, where we embrace the beauty of being human. Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Embodied Living Podcast. Today I will explore and be reflecting on what healing really means. And here I want to add maybe a ... Healing is not a straightforward process at all. It's not a straight line from pain to peace. Healing is messy. It's unpredictable. And foremost, it's a deeply, deeply personal process. So welcome to this episode, this reflection about healing, the body, and the present moment. One of the great challenges we can have when we begin a healing process is often becoming comfortable with the exact moment we find ourselves in. Our body, our system can be so conditioned to fear the present moment, to fear the present, because it's in the present that our pain becomes alive. That pain that we might have hidden away for years starts to come into the surface, starts to emerge, and it can feel quite overwhelming. It can feel frightening, and yet it is only in the present moment that true healing can actually take place. To be able to face our pain, we have to somehow slow down and find a safety in the moment. And that can take time and also support to teach our body to feel safe enough to truly be present. And then over time, we can begin to be present with the pain as it is, present with the pain as it arises without the need to push it away, the need to change it, to distract from it. Over time, we can create a space for ourselves where we can be with what is, rather than constantly escaping from it. When we do this, when we practice this, either alone with yourself or with a therapist or a friend, we slowly begin to discover the depth and the potential of the present moment. And I find that so beautiful. So why is it so important to involve our body in the healing process? The healing process is never just a mental or emotional journey. It's also a physical, a bodily journey. The body holds on to so many of our experiences, both the good and the painful ones. It's like a landscape of frozen moments, of memories that are not always accessible to our conscious mind. And that is why it's so important to include the body as we start going into the healing process. When we allow and we have the courage, for the body to be a part of the healing process, we can go deeper and create changes that truly, truly integrate into us, becomes us. So our body can be our greatest ally in the healing process because our body speaks the truth. While our mind and our thinking brain can think itself out of feelings, out of memories, the body shows us where the pain lives and also how it can be released. And it's the physical presence that can help us create the connection between the mind and the body that is necessary to work through the layers of us. It's through our body that we can truly land in the present moment. And it's from here that healing can begin. And now that we are talking about the body as a landscape of frozen moments or memories, we also have to talk shortly about trauma and the body's role in healing that. Because for many people, finding calmness in the body can be so extremely challenging, especially if we have experienced trauma. For an example, as infants or babies, our cognitive abilities are not yet fully developed. And so we remember everything, we experience everything through our senses, through our body. Everything we experience leaves a trace in our body. And these early memories can often rest as a deep resonance in our tissues, our muscles, our senses. Trauma doesn't just lodge in the mind, but also deep within our body. Our body remembers, even when our superminds try to forget and suppress. And that's also why being in our own body can feel uncomfortable, even impossible. There might be a restlessness, tightness, dizziness, feeling of wanting to flee away from the body. And it's completely normal to have these challenges, to have this sensation. And therefore it's always important to work slowly towards re-establishing a sense of safety in the body. And it's a process of relearning that the body can actually be a safe place, step by step, breath by breath, moment by moment. When we have experienced trauma, our nervous system can be in this constant state of being alert. The body may be tense, it may be ready to run, it may be ready to fight, it may go into freeze. And therefore, landing in our body can feel like exposing oneself to danger, even when there is actually no danger present at this moment. And this, again, it's a natural reaction from the body. It's just trying to protect us. But for the healing process to take place, we need to slowly and gently work with the body to reestablish that sense of safety. When we start on this journey, often I feel clients coming into me, there is an agenda. We want to achieve something. I want to go there. I want to improve something. I want to get rid of something. But when we have that agenda, we are not present in this moment. We are out there, in the future, or somewhere else. And this is completely understandable, I think. Nobody wants to suffer. But there's also a paradox in that, because the very desire for that change often somehow make that change difficult. So when we're trying to fix something, we are indirectly telling our body that what we are experiencing is wrong. It's unwanted. It's not good enough. I don't want that part of me. And this can create a resistance and a big obstacle to the work. So we start there, coming back to the presence and letting go of the agenda. And when we do let go of that agenda, it doesn't mean that we cannot wish for the change. Of course we can wish for the change, but rather than giving ourselves permission to be in the process without pushing for a specific outcome, that takes a little bit of trust to dare to be in the process without that control. We could think about it as maybe sitting at the edge of the sea and letting the sea and the waves touch your feet, reach your feet. You cannot control the sea, but you can choose to stay and experience it exactly as it is. And then over time, the waves becomes a part of your experience, and your body will slowly start to feel safety in this what is uncontrollable. We could also use another metaphor. I like metaphors to help us in a way understand that approach. You could imagine a garden, maybe it's your garden, where weeds are growing among all the beautiful flowers. And if we're only determined to have the perfect flowers in the garden, we might spend all of our time and energy removing the weeds. But what if we instead learn to live with them? What if we let the garden be as it is and begin to really see the beauty in the whole thing, where the weeds also have their place? So letting go of that agenda is about finding this balance, allowing the beautiful imperfection to exist without constantly striving for a change. In the end, the only place we're truly trying to get to through our healing work is right here, in the present, right here where we can feel, we can sense, we can experience ourselves in our full reality. It's not about escaping to a better place, but being with everything we are, all our parts. This physical approach really invites us to let go of that urge to change or improve ourselves, and instead allow ourselves to experience the moment, because it's in the moment that we can fully, truly find the core of healing. How does it feel to be here right now? How does it feel to be you in your body right now? Is there a warmth in your chest? Maybe a tingling in your hands or a knot in your stomach? By bringing our attention here and being with what is here without judging it, we can really open up to a very, very powerful force of healing. We can also explore how the present moment feels through our different senses. What sounds do we hear? What smells do we pick up? How does your body feel against the surface you're resting on? All of this is ways to come back to the present moment. And by being fully present, we can slowly begin to really open up to these more subtle layers of ourselves. A crucial part of this process, I believe, is to see ourselves as whole beings. The strength, the vulnerability. Many of us, myself included, have learned throughout life to hide the sides of ourselves that we see, that we perceive or have learned was weak or was wrong. But as we begin this process, as we start to see ourselves, we are invited to bring all of our parts of ourselves into the light. Both the beautiful, the light, the ugly, the dark, the joy, the pain, the grief, the anger, and everything else that is a precious part of being human. It's precisely in this vulnerability that we find this authenticity, a strength, because we allow ourselves to be everything we are, all the parts we are, without the masks, without needing to perform. And yes, of course, we need the masks sometimes. When we finish our healing work, which we never do, because I think it's a lifelong process, we will still need masks sometimes. Or can that mask just be sensed and been with as a part personality, a part of you? Then it becomes more real. That's a reflection anyway. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we also open up to deeper connection with other people. Vulnerability creates intimacy. And actually not just in relation to others, but also definitely in relation to ourselves. We begin to discover that it is in the most open and the most honest moment that we can truly feel ourselves, feel our own needs, feel our boundaries and our resources. And when we allow ourselves to be together with ourselves, without rushing somewhere, without judging what we experience, we slowly begin to find a sense of self-acceptance, and maybe even a calmness. We end up right here, where we have always been. But now we are able to see, we're able to feel, and truly able to be with all of ourselves, everything we feel. And this is actually where healing begins. There is a power in the slowness. There's a power in being patient with ourselves and really trying or daring to stay with ourselves exactly as we are. Healing is about being able to hold on when things are difficult. to hold on to being in the moment without trying to fix anything. And then from here, maybe we can even begin to understand that our vulnerability is not a weakness. It's a doorway. It's a doorway to a deep, deep connection with ourselves. So maybe the essence is about coming home to ourselves, coming home to our bodies. And it's not a task to complete. It's not a goal to achieve, but a lifelong, ongoing journey. A journey where every step brings us closer to who we are, to our essence. A journey of untangling ourselves from the patterns and defenses that we have built over time. And it's delicate work. It's really delicate work. It involves gently loosening the knots, untangling everything we have tied to protect ourselves. Finding new freedom in these parts of us that have been hiding, or we have been put away or been holding on to. And it's here, right there in that simple, raw presence that we, I believe, can find true peace and maybe even a profound sense of freedom. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. I hope you feel inspired to make your own reflections and maybe dive into how you see yourself as a human being, how you navigate with vulnerability, and how maybe you can create room for your healing process without an agenda. Thank you for listening to the Embodied Living podcast. I hope you felt inspired and felt that you were in good company. If you are seeking connection or embarking on your own journey, you are welcome to join our community through my website, embodiedliving.se, or connect with me on Instagram at Kirstine.Ilum. Through our community, you can access more resources and information about ways we can work together, whether it's through workshops, sessions, or in the online community. I'm here to support you on your path of self-discovery. If you want to help me and support the podcast, giving a review would mean the world to me and my work. It's a great way of give something or some energy back to actually all of us who are creating podcasts. So if you feel like giving the podcast 5 stars and writing a review, I would be immensely grateful. It doesn't take long and it makes a great difference for me. Thank you for being a part of this journey, and let's continue to explore, learn, and grow together. See you in the next episode.